Let's talk about talk.
So I'm going to start over a little bit and just say that, Temi is a John Maxwell certified executive coach and behavioral analyst. DISC. Her passion includes helping professionals create new results that they desire personally and professionally through transformational coaching. She's also works with technology organization and team transformation, building a trust-based and effective teams. Temi has over 15 plus years of industry experience in product, project, and change management and business analysis. So that's who's hanging out with us today, who's going to help me present, and I will help her present. We're going to do this together. Welcome, Temi.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here, and you should also be very glad to be here. This kind of events, I feel that once you see the ad or you see the information going out there and you sign up for it, you have an appointment with destiny. That's the way I put it. So you should be very happy to be here. And thank you, Dr. Dave. I'm just going to talk a little bit about Dr. Dave. If we haven't met him at all, it's such I met Dr. Dave last year, I think, or 2 years ago. I don't quite remember now. And my life has actually grown much more as a result of that. So it's been a value add in my life. So Dr. Dave A. Cornelius, aka Dr. Dave, and he's a PhD holder. He's an executive and organization coach, learning facilitator, and the Lean Agile certification trainer. He partners with leaders and teams in for-profit, non-profit, and startups to deliver awesomeness that meets their goals and visions. Now, one thing about Dr. Dave is also that he's an author of 8 amazing books on Amazon.com. And I'll give you, titles of some, so you just have a feel of who you are with today. One of it is Transforming Your Leadership Character, the Lean Thinking and Agility Way. Another topic is Elastic Minds. What are you thinking? Very important. There is another one, Belonging and Healing, Creating Awareness for Yourself and Others. The Innovation Catalyst, Leading with Empathy, Generative Leadership to Thrive. So please go on Amazon.com and search for Dr. Dave. You'll find all his books on there. And he also has a podcast and a blog, and it's called No Share with Dr. Dave, which you can find on Spotify, Audible, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So we are very privileged to be working with Dr. Dave today.
And I'm very privileged to be with everyone here today. Hi, Sandra. I haven't seen you in forever, maybe since before the pandemic. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. So we're going to use a tool called Miro, and let me go ahead and share that link. So for those of you who are here with us in Zoom, on the Zoom meeting, I'm just going to drop the link in the chat, and feel free to go ahead and click on that link, because that's where we're going to do an abundance of the work that we're doing today in terms of sharing. So go ahead and jump on in and click on the Miro board. And I just wanted to give us a chance to just get in there and orient ourselves. All right, so this is the Miro board that we're going to be using today, and hopefully everyone should be able to see, the screen that we're presenting from. And I may push in a little bit more. Yeah. So here's the thing, and I see like a bunch of folks are coming in. I see like at least 3 or so people have joined, and so why do we even care about this visioning journey map, right? I mean, why is this tool even important for us to even be concerned with? Well, look, it just gives us a very clear way for us to talk about our promise and how we're going to realize this journey that we need to go on, right? And that journey could be for family, for work, for community. You could use this in any, application that your heart's desire. So this is what the journey map kind of looks like as an infographic, but we're going to implement it in Miro so that at least you can get to create some stickies, share your vision with others. In this board, you would see there's a video here that you could click on if you to learn. But one of the tools that we're going to use, as the way we start to think about our vision and our journey, is called a well-formed outcomes, and it's from the neuro-linguistic programming practice. But the way I like to look at this is from Brene Brown's context, and she said, "Be clear and kind to yourself and others." So this is when I think about NLP and well-formed outcomes, I start there. I start by saying like, oh, how can I be clear about my future vision, any of the hurdles that I'm going to encounter, where I am currently, and what about my desired goals? How do I express that in a very clear way that people have a much better understanding? And so there are 9 different steps in here that when we talk about, when we look at this chart, and it says, state the outcome in positive terms. So when we think about our future vision, we want to state it that, as the first thing that I ask you to do when you started here was to declare or state what your heart's desire is. So that's the very first thing that we want to do. State it in positive terms. I know I stated that I want to have this amazing business in 2024. It's not enough details, but it's in positive terms. We could start to begin to look at, all of the different steps to see what the outcome is within your control. We want to be as specific as possible. Number 4 is really interesting when we talk about sensory evidence. We want to know how will we know that we even achieve our goals? We need to start to think about that as we're looking at our vision. We're looking at our hurdles. We're looking at our different goals. Consider the context that we're in. Right? I mean, so I know it's potentially achievable for me to get and make sure my business is successful because it's within my control, and I have great partners, and I could hang out with great people like Temi, right? And so I get different context about how do I get to deliver that value. I do have access to resources. So this is part of the thinking as we're going through and we're setting up our journey. We have to start thinking about this. Is there anything that I need to preserve? So, is there any relationships that I need to hang on to while I'm trying to make my business, for it to succeed? Sure. I mean, there may be relationship with partners that I may need to preserve, right? That I may have to do some additional work to make sure that we can generate some revenue as we're building this business. Make sure that it's ecologically sound, and then define the first step. So there's 9 steps for you to consider when you're thinking about a well-formed outcome. And the context is to be clear and kind to yourself and others, right? And so with that, this is just to give you a context. And as you're going through, and we're going to start playing with our visioning journey map, this is one of the practices that I want you to take on. And now, and tell me, you can let me know if you want me to stop sharing and you start sharing, or I could control for you, because you're going to talk about SMART goals, right?
Yeah, you could control, it's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. So in terms of, so we talked about creating the goal, looking at what we want to do, what we want to achieve within a specific time. We like to use the framework SMART, and that is what it says: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So I'm going to talk about each of these bubbles a little bit. Why do we need specificity? Okay. Vague goals. Dr. Dave just shared, like, I want to have a thriving business. Okay, great. But what is that business? What is it? What does thriving mean? What does profitable mean? What does it mean to you? It needs to be very clear, because if it's very vague, you have vague actions. If you have vague actions, you have vague results. So why it's important that we have to be specific is because we will be able to commit to it. It's very clear in our head, it's very clear in our mind what we are working towards. Specificity. So you can see the example there. And then it talks about measurable. Measurable, it's super important so that you can actually track your progress along the way. I want to have a thriving business. What does that mean? I want to generate, 10K or 100K in the next 3 weeks, 3 months. What does that mean? Okay, at least we already know that we're aiming towards generating a 3,000K or 100K, some random figure I'm putting there within the next 3 months. So we break it down further. So what does this mean on month 1? What does it mean for me in month 2? What does it mean for me in month 3? Or you could make it, take it to the end of month 3 and then bring it backwards, like reverse engineer it, which is what we're going to be talking about. Achievable. Yeah. Dream big. Yes, I love to dream big. I dream big, I dream wide, I dream broad. That is me. But also sometimes you need to come back to yourself and say, okay, if this goal is too high, for example, I might want to be able to start lifting weights from now and say that by the end of the year, December 2024, I should be a weightlifter of 100K. I don't even think that's possible, but that is how achievable is my goal. Maybe 50 kgs is much more achievable for me with my current circumstances, health-wise, fitness-wise, the way I eat and everything. 50 kilograms is probably more achievable for me. So you always have to look at yourself and say, what is really achievable? And that doesn't mean that you should limit yourself. And that doesn't mean that you should say, well, I can never, ever reach 100K. I probably will be able to do that. But for now, in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, this is what is achievable. It's very important because if it's too high, you get too overwhelmed that you can't achieve it. If it's too low, you're not propelled, you're not challenged to move towards it. So you have to be able to understand who you are right now and where you are in relation to what you want to achieve. Realistic as well. So what we're saying, is it, apart from achievable, how relevant is it? How realistic is it? And that for me is tying back to your value as a human being, as a person. What do I value? So going back to Dr. Dave's example of having a thriving business, but why do you want to have a thriving business? So that you can have enough money to do what? To pay off your mortgage, to do what? To travel the world, to do what? So once you understand your value, really your goal setting should start from your values. What matters to me? Is it financial freedom that matters to me? Because if it's financial freedom, then I'm going to set all my goals to align with that value, and I'm going to be very motivated to actually do things to generate that value for me. The value is the thing that helps your goals to stick. So you want to have value-driven goals. That's relevant to you, relevant to your community, relevant to your family. Time-bound, very important. I've realized in life, if you set 3 hours to complete a task, it's going to take you 3 hours. If you set 30 minutes to complete the same task, it's going to take you 3 minutes. So put a time to your goal so that it helps you, it moves you forward, it propels you to actually do stuff. Now, again, as it comes with goals, smart goals, sometimes you have a goal and you're not really sure whether it's achievable or not achievable. Be kind to yourself. Be gracious to yourself, because as we move now, we'll talk about the inquiry. Like, we go back and check, okay, am I still on track, which is where the measurable comes in. Am I still on track to achieve? What's not helping me to achieve? And then you tweak. But for now, let's start with this platform. And as we go down the whole program today, you see how you can tweak your goals accordingly. Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome, dealing with SMART goals. But you can also use, when we talk about the vision statement, right? Because we're talking about visioning, we're trying to look forward into the future. This just helps us to think about the challenges that we're going to encounter and how do we get beyond those challenges. How does it serve as a lighthouse, guiding us through the storms? Because, we could have the most well-perceived dreams that we have in the world, but we know they're going to be hurdles for us to get beyond. And so when we think about, crafting your vision statement, it should have some levels of aspiration. It encapsulates your dreams, your goals, and just helping you to move along in your journey. So one thing that I like to do is to always provide some examples, right? So that we could contextual in terms of understanding, what does a simple visioning statement may look like. So I can use an example like that. I want to be the vanguard of educational reform. We do have some struggles throughout the world in terms of how we bring education to human beings. So, maybe my vision that I'm pursuing, I dream of being at the vanguard of educational reform, creating learning environments that foster innovation, critical thinking, and personal growth. I aspire to develop educational models that cater to diverse learning styles, preparing future generations to succeed in their dreams, to be empathetic and informed global citizens. That's a lot, but I could break that down into SMART goals, right? And pull this apart and give us something that we're aiming toward, and the visioning journey map. I believe one of the things that not only that we have a vision, but if you were doing this, and we think about cadence, right? Cadence in terms of the work and how frequently we're going to put our visioning journey map. How often are we going to work on this? And so I kind of together an idea of what a cadence may look like, based on if you're using this as an individual or you're using this to support your teams, because this is a practical tool that you could use for yourself, but also if you're leading a team in some way, we could use the same tool, right, to help that team to create a vision for whatever they're trying to achieve in the organization. So if we look at just the simple cadence, something to think about, and this is just a guide. You may create your own. You may modify this and say, "Oh yeah, this is too much time," or "I need more time." Right? We're trying to be kind to ourselves. So we may say that our initial reflection may be 1 to 2 weeks, but maybe you may need more time to start thinking about this new vision that you have for yourself. You may spend 2 to 4 weeks just drafting that vision, setting goals, and also ongoing refining and reviewing that vision statement, and also the hurdles and also the different actions that you plan to take. Similarly, you could do the same thing for teams, right? Still have group discussions to try to figure this out. We figure out how we're going to consolidate our collective vision, some action planning, and we're going to have regular reviews and adjustments as well in the process. So the cadence is just something that we need to be mindful of how often are we going to actually engage and get this work done, and to support ourselves or support our teams. And I believe we're going to pivot over to my friend Temi to talk about going deeper going deeper with inquiry throughout the journey as we're building out our visioning journey map. Temi?
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Dr. Dave. So here I want to talk about hope. I believe, from my experience and from people that I know in the world of goal setting and goal casting and vision casting, we talk about hope being an important force to help you dream again. Okay, because some people, they don't, because of life issues, things that happen to them in life, things that they've experienced, it's hard for them to actually look beyond their nose and actually see a better tomorrow. Okay, and I just want to talk to you about hope today, because hope really helps you to create goals. Okay, once you might know your values, so that what's important to you, what really matters to you, but to get those things to happen, you need goals. But some people can't just set the goals. But hope helps you, because once you lose hope, and once you stop having hope, you downsize your dreams, you downsize your goals, you downsize everything about you, you downsize your aspirations, you settle, and we cannot settle. We cannot settle. So I want to challenge you today that what do you dare to hope for? Because that's going to really help you to have a vision statement and goals that would help you achieve those visions, the vision. I dare you today, what do you want to hope for? Dare to hope again. And that's what I want to tell you about. Hope is very good because it's like a psychological capital that you have, your resilience, flexibility, It's actually character. It helps you to think beyond now, beyond tomorrow, beyond next week. Helps you, even if you make a mistake, it helps you to go back to it and reflect on the mistake you've made and make it better, give it a positive spin. That is hope. So I'm talking to you now, say, what I dare you to hope again. Hope to achieve something again. Hope to put those goals in place. I see everything you're written down. I launch my business, run a marathon. They are not simple things to do. You need hope to do that. So put on the cap of hope, of hoping right now, and let's build your vision together.
That's so wonderful. So the first thing, the first thing that we want to step into right now is actually doing some work. Right, we're going to do some work. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we could have some. We're going to do some work here in here. One of the things is like I always like to start with the end in mind. Right, where do we want to get to? And so what we'll do, each person, grab a sticky, right, and basically go ahead and using all of the things that we talked about in terms of well-formed outcomes. You want to express it as a SMART goal. Knowing that this is very futuristic, I want you to go ahead and start, and I'll put a timer on there. We'll do like 5 minutes, and basically go ahead and start crafting out what your vision is for 2024. And you could have many. It doesn't always have to be just one. I'm going to put a lovely timer, and for 5 minutes, I'm going to get you working. Is anyone ready? Give me a thumbs up. If not, just give me an emoji and a reaction. So good. So I'm going to go ahead and start a timer and go ahead and just let's start crafting what your vision statement is for 2024.
Okay. So in month 3, so this is where the time comes in. In month 3, my signature product management and marketing course will be on an online platform where it can drive traffic to itself so I can scale this part of my business. The product will enable entrants to tech, secure their desired jobs, will broaden new PM's skill set, resulting in greater productivity and salary increase. The results will generate an 100K income for me by December 2024, and the profits will go towards my mortgage payment. So you're free to talk over to chip in, but I wanted to walk you through the SMART in that goal. And this is a real goal for me. So I'm working on this right now. But you can see it has the time by which it has to be accomplished. Month 3, that's March 2024. My why is there. My value is there. Mortgage payment, mortgage freedom, okay? Financial freedom is there. The value also provides to my community. So it's not just about me. And it's okay. Some goals are just about you. It's not about being selfish. It's just what is important. But for me, it's about, yes, I'm helping myself to get to my value, but also helping other people. Because I do believe that once you help other people, you help yourself too. So you can see how I've coined mine. And I really like what I see. I dare to hope I will be doing stuff. I see it's quite nice, but that's the way to think through it when we are trying to write down our vision statement.
That's excellent. But, and so as we're making progress here, and before I move on, does anyone else want to just, share their vision or current, or future self?
Hello, it's Sandra Macaulay
Oh,
Robinson.
Sandra,
I'll go ahead.
yay.
Hello. And this is just the very beginning of one. And it's the one that says by spring 2024. Research and collaboration through phase 1 for my algorithmic protection and understanding project. And I'm by design going to stay a little bit vague, but basically there is, as very much inspired by Dr. Joy, whose last name I'm not going to pronounce very well, who did a fantastic TED Talk as well as she's the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League. And it's really talking about how algorithms, which have a lot of other terminology these days, like AI and other kinds of things that I personally think are quite misnomers, can be used for wondrous things and for dreadful things. And so, as I've personally done throughout my career, have gone deep into the technologies and then figured out how to translate that into being used for the wondrous things and how to be protective, and how both individuals and companies and schools and others can learn to have the protection and at least make educated decisions and have skill sets against the dreadful things. So that's the journey that I'm on for at the moment, and it will ultimately get folded into things that I do professionally. But at the moment, I saw your workshop came through just at the moment that I was starting to. I love the synchronicity of life, and it has been quite a long time, Dr. Dave. You are so marvelous in coming into what I'm doing, whether it's Agile Scrum or this, right at the right time. So whether you know it or not, you're part of that inspiration. So that's what I'm up to. And again, I'm going to stay a little bit vague on it. And thanks for the opportunity.
Awesome. No, I mean, Sandra, it's amazing. I'm glad that the universe has us connected. So we're going to move forward, and this is where Temi's going to help us, and we're going to talk about our hurdles. Hurdles, and so Temi, take it away. It's you're up to speak about hurdles.
Yes, so thank you. We can I'm not sure whether the instruction is there, but if you had anything you wanted to achieve by a particular month, you start from the end of that month. So month 6 is, you could see month 6 hurdles on the screen right now. If your goal is a 12-month goal, then you start from month 12 and you reverse engineer. And the question you're asking yourself is, what could be in the way of me achieving this goal? And that's the main question you're asking yourself. What could be in the way? And sometimes we look externally for things that could be in the way when the finger is actually pointing at us, because we can actually be in the way of ourselves. We could have limiting beliefs. And sometimes it's hard to accept the fact that I am a block. I'm blocking myself from progressing. Yes, I think that should sink in. I want to repeat that again. Sometimes it's hard to accept the fact that you are the one limiting yourself. You know, my goal is to by month 3 achieve something. To be able to do that, I need to start researching on online platforms. The information won't pop into my head if I don't go search for it. If I don't do that in month 1, I can't get to my month 3. I am my blocker. So you need to sit down. This sounds a little bit harsh, but it's the truth. And I need to let you know, you need to sit down with yourself and say, how am I going to be in my way in achieving my goal? And it could be your, fears. It could be, fears, really, you're just scared of taking this thing. It could be buying a house, a very huge project, and thinking, oh my God, that cannot even happen to me. No, it's a fear. You need to understand what it is. You need to be aware. And it's the 3 stages. You've got to be aware of that thing. And then you've got to acknowledge that it is actually something I need to deal with. And once you're aware, once you acknowledge and you take the action of, doing something contrary to that thing. So it could be a fear. It could be an habit of yours, I want to be able to launch a business. What does that requires some money, right? That requires some money, and you need to save towards it. So how much you need to save towards it? You might need to start living a lean life. Like, instead of buying certain things, you cut down things you need to buy because of the business you want to build, and pump money into the business. So that's an habit you need to do without, like buying things on a weekly basis. You probably just do without that habit. You need to stop doing. Distractions, they could come as distractions. So if I want to focus on finishing, Sandra, thanks for that too. So Sandra is focused on doing something by spring. It will require our time. It will consume our energy. Okay. So goals actually consume us. They consume you physically, mentally, sometimes financially, spiritually. You get consumed. If she wants to do that by spring 2024, I bet she cannot have time to do several other things. Several other things will be distractions. Several other things might not be bad, but right now, she's got to put her eyes and everything around her and zone in on that spring 2024 goal. Every other thing is going to be a distraction. It could be lack of knowledge. Okay, so here is understanding again what is in my way. And you start from the end of the goal and then keep walking backwards or forwards. It could be lack of knowledge. I don't have the skill. I want to become a director of finance right now. Where am I in my knowledge? What do I need to do to be able to become a director of finance? Understanding, we call it gap analysis and business analysis. What is the gap? How do I fit? What do I need to put in place to close that gap to be able to get me to my position? So it's all to that kind of hurdles. I like the the guy jumping over there. It's really hurdles that you need to cross. So starting with yourself. How am I going to be in the way? So that's how you break it down. Then you respond to it. You note it, you respond to it, and that's the action you need to take. Okay.
Right.
So this is what we're going to do in this next slot, right, Dr. Dave?
Yeah. We're going to go and, so fun thing, if you think that you're going to start something in the spring of 2024, you may want to go to month 3, and this is where you're going to start your hurdle. If it's longer, 6 months out, like June, then you would go to month 6. And so what I want you to do is that, every hurdle needs a response, right? And so if my hurdle is that I won't, I may get distracted with many other activities, then maybe my response to the hurdle is I should only focus on one thing, right? Just as Temi said, we only focus on one thing. So why don't we spend another 5 minutes, depending on based on your vision that you wrote earlier. Let's look at what's going to get in the way from stopping you. And it's hard. We like I said, I always tell people, we don't plan to fail. We really don't. But if you have a vision and you understand the hurdles, you're more likely to be successful. So let's spend another quick 5 minutes and see what hurdles we could come up with. And I'm going to say, ready, set, go. Let's see if we're going to have any brave souls who's going to talk about their hurdles that they may run into. And just maybe share one hurdle. Anyone willing to do that?
I'm happy to do that if you want to
Go
move
for
to
it.
that portion.
Which month?
Actually, I only put one in on month 5 because I'm a brand new rookie at Miro board.
That's okay. That's okay.
So this is the most significant hurdle. So it could certainly be copied into somewhere else. So spring is actually the most active time. I'm the founder and managing director for a consultancy. So spring is actually the most active time for proposals and securing new engagements for the next fiscal year. Most of our clients work on a fiscal year. So of course I've set my goal for a prime time in what I do professionally. And it would happen other times of the year too. So the response is I'm going to use KonMari, which is the wonderful recondo decluttering methodology, but as well as something that I discovered last year from a podcast by Brene Brown and Jim Collins, and I've put the link in there, about is it part of my hedgehog, and which very much has a lot of similarities to what you were talking about in this visioning journey in terms of how it ties into values and what you think you can be world class at.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So just to restate, going to use KonMari and Is It Part of My Hedgehog to focus on the best possible for flow. And flow has to do with time, financial prosperity, is it in line with values, and kindly redirect those either engagements or people that are not, which is a lot harder to do than to say. There we go.
Yeah. Well, good. Just to be mindful of our time, we're going to move on to the next section. And in this section, what we really focus on is we come back to a current reality or ourself. What's on with us at this point in time? you know, are we having any type of challenges that we have to be concerned with? Maybe, it may be limiting belief, which is one aspect, that there's no way I could get this done. Or it may be that, I'm ready to go. I mean, it could be either or, whatever your current reality or current self is. And I'm going to reduce this because maybe we'll do 3 minutes just so we can manage, in managing our time, just to write, like, where am I in terms of my vision currently, right? We went to the future, and then we walk back from the future looking at our hurdles that we may encounter, and now we're in the present. So what's going on with us right now? And how can we describe that? Because that's going to help to propel us and put us in the position to walk forward in terms of dealing with goals and actions to achieve our vision. So I'm going to do 3 minutes. Just sit here. You could go ahead and run the timer, and that should give us give you an opportunity again to start describing what's going on with you currently, your current reality, your current self, for 3 minutes. Then we're moving. Come back to, maybe we could find one person also who wants to just talk about their current self, what they've defined. Feel free to come on, Mike, and you don't have to, but this is an option and an opportunity for you to, for us to hear your voice as well.
I can do that if you want.
Go for it. Yes.
No, I suppose it comes back to, you mentioned earlier, getting distracted. That's what I do. My plan is, so we're renovating the house and we're cold. We've been cold the last couple of winters, but it's that sitting down and researching and making a plan of what we need to do. But I'm off doing other things like traveling, work, training. I'll do anything else. That's the issue here. So that's what I put on my sticker.
No, that's wonderful, because that's your current reality, right? Your current self, and it's important for us to acknowledge that, because oftentimes we just go through and we have this vision, and we don't think about the turbulence we're going to run into as hurdles, and then we come like, well, where am I currently? Okay, now I get this. With this, now we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward to the next step, which tell me, that's you, or we're talking about, yeah.
Yep.
Or is that me? Oh,
Oh,
maybe it's still me. So when we get into this part, when we're talking about your goals and actions, this is important, right? So now we have a vision, fix up the house. We're gonna have a bunch of hurdles that we run into, which could be financial, time, and now your current self is like, oh man, I have traveling and I have work and I have all this other stuff. Now we're going to go forward from where you currently are, the present, to the future. And so if you have I try to keep this as smaller, what I call feedback loops, 3-6 months. So if you had a plan, you're going to start in month 1, your current space, and said, what are my goals to achieve my vision? And what actions would I take to get there?
Mm.
That is the mindset. All right. So we went from the future. We think about our hurdles coming back to the present. We said, where am I? And now we're going to go from the present to the future. So why don't we do another 3 minutes of, just writing down some wonderful stickies, and you could start thinking about how you're going to get there. So 3 minutes, and I love this tool because it has a timer built in, and people could interact. So we're going to start going right now. All right, so good. We got to the space where we've been able to start to identify what our goals and associated actions are to help us get to our vision, right? Let's see if we will get one more person who wants to jump in, and maybe one of the other voices, if they're willing. You don't have to, but just let you know that if you want to jump in and share, please feel free to. Maybe Temi, can I pick on you, since you're going to lead us right into the next section anyway? So do you mind?
Yes.
Which
Okay.
month would you like me to start in?
I could start from month 3. I have another goal for
Month 3. Okay,
yeah.
we're going to slide over to month 3. Let's see what you
Yeah.
have going on here.
Yeah. So I have a goal to complete my. Do I have another one actually? Let's start from month. I'm not too sure now. I have another goal to do something by month 6, and that requires me to pay about 3,000 for the course I want to do. Okay, by month 6. So what I've done, it's month 3, that's fine. It's still month 3. So you would see a month 3 goal, it says TBJ there, to save a particular amount every month, starting from month 3, $500 every month for month 3. That's 1,000 every month from month 3 to month 6, so that I could do my course in month 6. What I've also said in my month 5 is that it's possible. One of the orders that I identified is that it's possible that when I get in month 6 and I want to register for the course, there are no debts, meaning that my certification will be month 7 or month 8, and I don't want that. So I go on month 5, I actually do the registration, knowing that I'm planning to have the finances anyway. So I'll pay using my credit card. And then on month 6, I have all the money ready, and then I can pay back into my credit card and then do the exams or certifications in month 6. So that sort of helps you to, moving on quickly to the next section below. What it does is help me to set my own expectations. So that's one of the things I've discovered with setting goals and breaking it down on a monthly basis or weekly basis, depending on the goal. Now we're talking about reflecting and applying what we've learned, refining it and reapplying and refining the goal. It's helped me to set my own expectations. It means that at the end of every month, for month 3, I will be 1K short. But I'm glad because by month 6, I'll have what I want to have. So it helps me to set my expectation. And it also helps me to gain clarity on my deliverable for every month. So I have something going on from month 1 to month 6, 2 goals, one to be completed on month 3 and one to be completed on month 6. Also, what you see is that, I think it was Zena that was saying, sometimes you have a lot of stuff to do, you get distracted. If you know you are the kind of person they're likely to spread yourself too thin, like me, I just zone on one goal. One goal consumes all of me, plus other things I have to do in the family. So I zone in on that goal. I get it done month 3 and move on to another 3 months goal. Okay. So it sort of sets my expectations and helps me to glean clarity. Now, you could see if you move down in the where we need to type things in the post-it, you would see when we're talking about reflecting and refining. I could see from this exercise, I see how far I am from my goal. Is a way to feedback to yourself, but it is not the best way to feedback to yourself because it is negative. I see how far I am from my goal. You make it a positive, put a positive spin on it to say how close I am to my goal, not how far away from where I am to my goal. Because when you speak to yourself, and this is positive psychology, when you feedback negativity to yourself, somehow you get demotivated because it's so far away. You think you cannot achieve it. So it's very important that when you're doing your feedback, your debrief, internal debrief to yourself now, where you have a pen and paper and you're talking back to yourself, you're putting a positive spin on everything you're reflecting back to yourself. And it's very important. And it's not being real, it's being realistic, because your perspective really does matter on how you will achieve your goal or whether you will not achieve your goal. So the next 3 minutes, again, we're going to go through and check out and reflect and say, find out, what did you discover as you were writing those goals? What did you discover as you were writing the orders? What did you discover by yourself as you were walking through the activities? And how do you want to move forward beyond? So let's do the first section now, which is, what did you discover as you were writing those goals and orders?
Yeah, I think we may have to do all three in 3 minutes.
Time?
Yeah. Just to be mindful of time, just to get everyone to just go ahead and do a short debrief, based on the activity. And so there's 3 very specific questions, right? We ask, as you're reflecting, relating, remembering, it's like, what did you discover? As Temi asked. The second thing is, why were these hurdles important to you? Right? Is there an importance for why you some of the hurdles that you've identified? And then how will you move forward with goals beyond your vision, right? Is there anything else you'll do beyond, your vision itself? So those are the 3 simple questions that are here. And so we'll fire up another 3 minutes and, go ahead and just start to put those in, just to start capturing. So the timer started, and I'm going to pause while we're doing this for the moment.
Let's talk about talk. Let's go deep. We all have something to share. No share with Dr. Dan.